Night has cast a somber silence over the great house at Collinwood, a night that will be at first frustrating and then terrifying for a young woman, governess to 2 children who have been possessed by evil spirits from the past. No one in the house knows the children's terrible secret, but recent frightening events have caused some to be suspicious. And on this night, the young governess will come close to learning the horrible truth.
David? David, I know you're in here. Don't hide from me. David, where are you? David, where are you?
Hello, Quentin. You're not angry, are you? Quentin, we almost had a close call, didn't we? Amy almost told everything. But a little while ago, she promised me that she wouldn't tell anyone our secret if you'd promise her something. You have to promise not to hurt Chris in any way. Will you do that, Quentin? I don't want to see him hurt either. Will you do that? All right, Quentin. I will do what you want.
Mrs. Johnson.
Yes, Mrs. Stoddard.
How soon will dinner be ready?
Oh, it's almost ready now.
Oh, good. David won't be at the table this evening. I want you to take a dinner tray to his room.
His room?
Yes, he's being punished for the way he treated Amy this afternoon.
Well, is he alone in his room?
Well, of course he's alone. Oh, and I want you to stay with him until he's finished eating. If you don't, the food is apt to wind up anywhere but in his stomach.
Oh, Mrs. Stoddard, I do have a lot of work piled up in the kitchen, so I'll take David his tray, but maybe Maggie could stay with him while he's eating.
Mrs. Johnson, what's the matter with you?
Nothing.
Yes, there is. It has to do with David. What is it?
To tell you the truth, Mrs. Stoddard, I'd rather not go to his room at all.
Why not?
Because that child frightens me.
Mrs. Johnson, what are you talking about?
I tell you, the way David and little Amy have been carrying on, it's downright scary.
Carrying on?
Those 2 children are playing some kind of monstrous game. game that's intended to scare us all to death.
Mrs. Johnson, all children make up odd games from time to time.
I didn't say this was odd. I said it was monstrous, and that's what it is.
Mrs. Johnson, you're a mature woman. David is 12 years old. Do you mean to tell me you're actually afraid to be with him for any time?
You can have my head examined, but that's the way I feel.
Well, I'll have to do one thing to prove to you that you're wrong. You will take the dinner tray to David's room and stay with him until he's finished eating.
Oh, Mrs.
And I guarantee that nothing will happen to you while you're in his room. Now, you better go to the kitchen and fix the tray.
Maggie, I didn't know you were here. I brought David his food.
Well, he's not here.
Oh, well, I thought he was supposed to stay in his room until...
He was.
Oh, Mrs. Stoddard is not going to be very happy about that.
Mrs. Johnson, before you leave, have you ever seen this before?
Yes, that's the coat David was wearing when I caught him and Amy playing dress-up.
Well, didn't you say that man you saw at the cottage was wearing the same kind of coat?
Yes.
Well, you described the clothes as old-fashioned, and they certainly are. It's from the Victorian period.
Don't you think Mrs. Stoddard should be told that David isn't in his room?
No, not yet. For the moment, I want to handle this myself.
Well, now, she's going to be asking me all kinds of questions when I come down with a full tray.
Mrs. Johnson, you just leave everything here, and then you return with the empty tray.
Are you sure that you know what you're doing?
Mrs. Johnson, I'm not trying to hide anything from Mrs. Stoddard. I intend to speak to her, just as soon as I find out what David is up to.
Well, all right. Suit yourself. Oh, yes, Mrs. Stoddard.
Have you been to David's room?
Yes.
How was he?
Oh, fine.
Did he do anything to frighten you?
No.
Good. I didn't think he would.
Well, I have to get to the kitchen.
Mrs. Johnson, I'm surprised by your sudden fear. You and David have always been very fond of each other, haven't you?
Yes, of course.
Have you been working too hard?
No, Mrs. Stoddard.
Well, I just wondered. I know you've had a lot of added burdens in the past week, and I thought you might need a rest.
Mrs. Stoddard, I don't need a rest. I've never been healthier in my life.
Hello, Maggie.
Is that all you have to say?
What else do you want me to say?
You know you weren't to leave your room without permission.
I'd like to know how I can wash my hands and face without leaving this room.
And that's what you did. You just went out to wash your face and hands.
Yes. See?
What else did you do?
Nothing. What's the matter? Don't you believe me?
No, I don't. Now, do you want to tell me everything, or shall I tell you?
I don't know what you're talking about, Maggie.
I saw you leave your room, and I followed you to the West Wing. Then I saw you go into the storage room, and I went in after you.
I think you've made a mistake.
No, I don't think I've made a mistake, David. I know what I saw. The only thing I don't know is how you got out of the storage room without my seeing you.
I didn't get out, because I was never in there.
David, how can you lie to me like that?
I'm not lying, Maggie.
I saw you go into that room.
If you saw me go in, how did I get back out without you seeing me?
Well, that's what you're going to tell me, David.
I'm sorry, Maggie. I can't tell you something that I don't know.
David, get that hurt, innocent expression off your face. You can fool some people with it, but not me.
You just don't want to believe me, that's
Stop it, David. It won't work.
Well, if you won't listen to me, I'll
You know,
go
it
to...
must be something you're terribly afraid of.
What?
Whatever it is you're trying to hide.
I'm not trying to hide anything.
You know, there must be something in the storage room that you don't want anyone else to know about.
But there's nothing up there except old furniture and things.
Like the old telephone I took away from you yesterday. Is that where you really found it?
I told you already. I found it in the cellar.
All right, David, then there must be another reason why you went to that room. What was it?
Nothing. How many times do I have to tell you?
I'll give you one more chance, David. Why did you go to that room?
Maggie, I think there's something wrong with your eyes.
Stop it, David. You can try every trick in the book, but it's not going to work. If you want to make this a test of wills, you go right ahead. Because you're going to find that mine is a lot stronger than yours. I'm extending your punishment. You'll spend all day tomorrow in your room.
Tomorrow?
Yes. And if by tomorrow night you still won't admit that you went to the West Wing, then you'll be confined to your room the following day as well.
You can't do that.
I'm doing it. And you're going to stay here until you tell me the truth.
You have no right to punish me. Only my Aunt Elizabeth and my father can do that.
Your father is still away. And Mrs. Stoddard has given me complete authority to discipline you in any way that I see fit.
I don't believe you. I want to see my Aunt Elizabeth.
Stay where you are, David. I forbid you to leave this room.
Get away from the door!
Go ahead and shout, David. If your aunt hears you, she may want to come up here and see what's wrong. And I don't think you'd like that.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'd tell her where you went tonight.
What makes you think that she'd believe you? Would be my word against yours.
I don't think so, David. When you went to the West Wing, you were carrying your flashlight. You didn't have it when you got back. I'll bet you left it in the storage room. So you just stay here, David, and you think it over. And when you want to talk to me, you let me know. I'll be in my room.
I'll get even with you for this, Maggie. You wait and see. I'll get even with you.
Mrs. Johnson?
Oh, did David come back?
Yes, he's back in his room. Everything's under control. I think a fuse blew out, though. All the lights in my room are out.
Oh, well, are the lights out in that upstairs foyer?
No.
Well, then you didn't blow a fuse. I'll bring you up some bulbs.
But if that's all it is, isn't it kind of strange for all the bulbs to go out at one time?
It's no stranger than some of the other things happening around here. I'll be up in a minute.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. David! If this is your way of getting even, by trying to scare me, it won't work. I know it's you making that ringing sound. This old phone isn't even connected. David! Come out from wherever you are! Just come out! Ah, David! Stop it! Stop it, David! Stop it!
I thought you said all the lights were off in here.
They were.
Well, they seem to be working now.
They went back on.
Are you sure they were ever off?
Mrs. Johnson, I'm not in the habit of imagining things.
Did I hear you just now calling David?
Yes, I thought he was here. I guess he isn't. But he was. Because, well, when I came back, I saw the door to my room wide open. And when that old phone started to ring, I thought it was David playing one of his tricks on me.
You mean you heard this old phone ringing?
Mrs. Johnson, don't look at me like I'm crazy.
Well, when I told you that I saw that man down at the cottage, you looked at me as if I were crazy.
I'm afraid I did, didn't I? But I don't see how that old phone could have started ringing. I intend to find out. David!
I do not like thee, Dr. Fell. The reason why, I cannot tell. But this I know, and very well. I do not like thee, Dr. Fell.
David. David, if you're up there, please answer me.